In 2023, a 20-year-old walked into Real Madrid and asked for a specific number. Not 10, not 7. He asked for number 5. That was Zinedine Zidane's number. And this kid hadn't picked it by accident. He'd idolized Zidane since he was a child. So the Madrid press did what the Madrid press does. They anointed him. Tomás Roncero, one of the most famous voices at the newspaper AS, said out loud he saw him as the new Zidane. 2 years later, the exact same journalist on live radio said this: "For me, this Bellingham is unrecognizable. He's lost focus, and it's a shame because we're wasting a world-class player." Same man, same player, opposite verdicts. Now, this video is not about a simple slump and a comeback. Everyone tells that story. This is about something heavier. What happens when you spend your entire life trying to carry 2 dreams at once? Your father's and your idol's. And by the end, you'll understand exactly what that weight did to him. To understand Jude Bellingham, you have to start with a man most football fans have never heard of. His father, Mark Bellingham. Mark was a police sergeant in the West Midlands. And on the weekends, he played football, non-league football, the amateur and semi-professional world far below the Premier League. He did it for around 25 years. And here's the number that matters. He scored more than 700 goals down there. 700 goals. And he never once played professionally. Never made a living from the game. Jude has called his father his first hero. So sit with that for a second. Jude Bellingham grew up watching a man who was good enough to score 700 goals, but the door to the professional game never opened for him. The dream stayed unfinished. And here's the surprise most people miss. Jude didn't treat that unfinished dream as a warning. He treated it as a starting line. His father's ceiling became his floor. Everything Mark couldn't reach, Jude decided he would, and then keep going. But there's a cost to building your whole identity around completing someone else's dream. Remember that, because it comes back. Now let's talk about the world Jude walked into, because the pressure of Real Madrid isn't like anywhere else. The number 5 at Madrid isn't just a shirt. Zidane wore it as a player, then came back and won 3 straight Champions Leagues as the manager. It's arguably the most loaded number in the club's modern history. When a 20-year-old asks for it, he's not choosing a number. He's volunteering to be measured against a legend. And the Madrid media environment is brutal in a very specific way. Outlets like AS and radio shows like Cadena SR's Carousel dissect every single match, live, in real time. Praise and destruction arrive with the same speed. In one broadcast in December 2025, Roncero didn't just criticize Bellingham. He tied him directly to a specific error, saying he caused the 2-3 and caused all the problems Madrid had at the end in a cup game against a third-tier side. That's the world. In the 2023-24 season, that world adored him. By late 2025, that same world was using words like descentrado, off-center, unfocused. Nothing about Bellingham, the player, changed overnight. What changed was the system around him. And we'll get to why. Every step of Jude's rise was calculated. That's what makes this story different from most. He made his debut for his hometown club, Birmingham City, in August 2019. He was 16 years and 38 days old, the youngest player in the club's history, breaking a record held by a genuine club legend, Trevor Francis, since 1970. He played just 44 games for Birmingham. 44. And when he left, the club did something almost unheard of. They retired his number 22 shirt. A teenager, barely a year into senior football, and they retired his number. That tells you what people around him already understood. Then came the first great decision. At 17, Manchester United wanted him. A move worth around £20 million was on the table. The biggest club in England. And the Bellingham said no. Instead, they chose Borussia Dortmund. Why? Because Dortmund had a reputation as the academy that actually plays its young players the same pathway that developed Erling Haaland, Jadon Sancho, Ousmane Dembele. It wasn't about the biggest name. It was about the right environment for development. The most calculated decision in a career full of them. And it worked instantly. He scored on his Dortmund debut in a 5-0 German Cup win. Within months, England came calling. He made his senior international debut in November 2020. Still only 17. Here's the detail that surprises people. Even at Euro 2020, when England reached the final, the manager, Gareth Southgate, held him back, just 3 substitute appearances. Bellingham was being carefully managed, protected, brought along slowly. Everyone could see what he was. The plan was always to arrive at the right place, at exactly the right time. And in 2023, the plan reached its destination, Real Madrid. Number 5. Zidane's number. The dream had arrived, and for one season it was perfect. Genuinely, almost impossibly perfect. The 2023-24 campaign. Bellingham arrived at Madrid and didn't ease in, he exploded. He scored 19 goals in La Liga alone and around 23 across all competitions from midfield. That is a striker's return from a player who's supposed to be a midfielder. But the numbers don't capture what it felt like. He scored last-minute winners. He scored in Clásicos. He carried the team in stretches where their biggest stars were quiet. The whole of Europe was talking about him as a Ballon d'Or contender in his very first season in Spain. He won La Liga and the Champions League. The famous "who else" celebration, arms wide, absolute self-belief, became his signature. And this is the crucial part. The Madrid press, which is famously slow to fully embrace anyone, broke its own rule. They compared him to Zidane. Roncero admitted it directly, for a while. He genuinely saw him as the new Zidane. In that moment, the number 5 didn't feel heavy. It felt earned. It looked like destiny confirming itself. Then it carried into the summer of 2024. At Euro 2024 with England, he produced one of the moments of the entire tournament, a spectacular overhead kick equalizer in the dying seconds of the last 16 match against Slovakia, dragging England back from the edge of elimination. So by mid-2024, here's where Jude Bellingham stood. A record breaker at 16. A £20 million teenager who turned down Manchester United and got the call right. A Champions League and La Liga winner in year 1. The new Zidane in Zidane's number at Zidane's club. The father's unfinished dream? Not just completed, obliterated. Everything had gone exactly according to a plan that started on non-league pitches in the West Midlands, which is usually where these stories end. The fairy tale. But this one doesn't end here. Because here's what nobody accounts for when everything is going right. The system can change around you and take your entire role with it. In the summer of 2024, Real Madrid signed Kylian Mbappé, one of the 2 or 3 best players on the planet. And when a player like that arrives, everything reorganizes around him. The space Bellingham had owned the year before, arriving late in the box, the free roll, the goals, that space now belonged to someone else. Then came the injuries. Bellingham needed shoulder surgery, which meant he missed the start of the following season. And while he was out, something quietly damaging happened. England played well without him. Real Madrid at times strung together wins with the young Turkish playmaker Arda Güler in his position. Roncero pointed at exactly this. When Bellingham was out, Madrid found rhythm, and right when he comes back, the problems come back. By late 2025, the same voices that crowned him were tearing him down. This Bellingham is not the one from 2 years ago. He's off-center. It's a shame we're wasting a world-class player. The number 5 that felt like destiny in May felt like an accusation in December. And it wasn't only Spain. His new England manager, Thomas Tuchel, created a media storm by repeating that his own mother found some of Bellingham's on-field behavior a bit repulsive. He later apologized. But then in October 2025, after being named England's Player of the Year, Bellingham was left out of the England squad entirely. Tuchel's line, "For special players there can always be special rules, but we decided to keep the straightforward decision." So reframe the whole thing. This wasn't a player who got worse. This was a player whose role was dismantled around him, at his club and his country. Right after he'd reached the summit he'd built his whole life to reach. That's the real complication. He arrived at the dream, and the dream stopped needing him in the same way. Which brings us to the summer of 2026 and the World Cup in North America. Bellingham didn't even arrive as a guaranteed starter. Tuchel said it publicly before the tournament. Jude had a fight on his hands because there were 14 or 15 potential starters. The debate in England was whether he or Morgan Rogers should wear the number 10. The player who 2 years earlier was the new Zidane was now fighting for his place. It took one game to end the argument. In the opener against Croatia, with England stuttering, Bellingham took the ball in the channel and just ran, past 2 defenders, a cold finish into the far corner. The Guardian called it an angry goal in exactly the right way. England won 4-2. Then he scored the breakthrough against Panama. And then came the round of 16 against Mexico in a hostile Azteca. 2 goals in 98 seconds, the fastest brace by an England player in World Cup history, and then a goal-saving clearance to protect the win. In the quarterfinal against Norway, with England a goal down in sweltering Miami, he did it again. An equalizer he created himself, and then the extra-time winner. 2 more goals. Here's the historical marker. Bellingham became the first player to score twice in consecutive World Cup knockout matches since Diego Maradona in 1986. And England fans across American stadiums sang the song they always sing, Hey Jude. So connect it back to the hook. The player called unrecognizable in December looked by July exactly like the version from that perfect first season. Free, decisive, carrying a team on the biggest stage in the world. The number 5 stopped being a weight, at least for a while, the moment the stakes got big enough to match him. So what does this story actually tell us? Bellingham built his entire life to arrive somewhere. His father's unfinished non-league dream. His idol's number. His idol's club. He hit every mark. And the strange, uncomfortable truth is that arriving was the easy part. Carrying it, while the ground kept shifting underneath him, was the real test. The praise and the destruction came from the same mouths, sometimes within the same year. There's a reason he keeps rising at World Cups specifically. 9 of his first 12 England goals came at major tournaments, a proportion no other England scorer comes close to. When the moment is heavy enough to justify the weight he's always carried, he's at his best. It's the ordinary Tuesday nights, the shifting systems, the slow erosion of a role, where the weight of number 5 seems to press hardest. And that leaves a question worth sitting with. When you spend your whole life chasing a dream that belongs to other people, a father who never made it, an idol you worshipped as a kid, and you actually reach it, is that freedom? Or is it just a heavier thing to carry? Bellingham hasn't answered that yet. Maybe a World Cup final answers it for him. But I want to know what you think. Did carrying his father's dream and Zidane's number make him great? Or is it the exact weight that's been crushing him? Tell me in the comments. I genuinely want to hear where you land.